should absolutely be able to question what is going on. And for those of you out there, so I'm never listening again, knock yourself out. There's other places you can go. If you can't question the President of the United States, and if you feel like, nope, doesn't matter what he does, I'm all in, I don't care if there was something horrible that happened or if he's covering up for his buddies or any of that stuff, if you can't question that, that is a cult. I don't do cults. I don't. And I'm not going to. He brought this on himself because he hired somebody who I had high hopes for. I thought Pam Bondi, of all the people that was out there, was supposed to be controversial. I thought she was going to be the best. She's been useless. She's been useless. And now you've got situations where you look around and you think to yourself, you're bringing up stuff that nobody asked about. You're throwing things out there that, quite frankly, wasn't, I think, too much on people's minds. And it's the deep state. It's this. It's that. It's a hoax. You're insulting people who supported you, who, might I add, you've gone, your son, you, your supporters, many people that are in your corner across the board have put their reputations on the line, have talked about this, and now it's a hoax. And you don't want anything to do with them? Sorry, that doesn't fly.
I don't understand what he's claiming to be a hoax.
That's the whole thing. At no point in time, up until 10 days ago, I didn't think he was too much involved in any of this stuff. Yeah, people knew that he had a relationship. What kind of relationship? Well, we don't know because we don't know how deep everything went, how long, how back the files went, any of that stuff. They just look from a certain time. It's kind of what we're being told. And now, out of nowhere, it becomes a hoax. And now, out of nowhere, what was supposed to be the most transparent of all doesn't seem to be very transparent. And now you don't want to talk about it. And why isn't everybody focusing on all my stuff? What about the victims? What about those? What about which I never hear anybody talking about at this point in time? What about the victims? What about the people out there who suffered at the hands of a monster that maybe our country participated in? What about them? What about those kind of situations where they felt they had zero power, because they didn't, up against powerful men, in situations where they didn't really have anybody, right? These weren't powerful young women who come from amazing families who could go to their parents who are just as powerful as the potential perpetrators. No.
If there was anybody in our government that participated in trafficking young girls, they, at minimum, deserve to be in prison.
Yeah.
And if they knew about it and weren't involved, but they knew, they have no business being in office.
Yeah. No business. If you worked for our intelligence agencies and you thought this is the thing that you were supposed to do so you could secure some sort of arrangement down the road that potentially would get jobs and grades, no, sorry. Coming out and insulting people and saying it's a hoax day in and day out. Now it's a hoax. What was the hoax? Bell's right.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work.
What? I have no idea what even that even means. They're doing who's doing the Democrats? You brought this up. So if you say this is a hoax, then what you're telling me and everybody else is you and all your cronies lied to everybody and stirred this thing up for years because it helped benefit you. Dan Bongino profited off this? I'd like to think Dan is not that kind of person. What's Andrew Schultz call him? Cockeyed Cash? I'd like to think he's not that kind of person. Wouldn't you? No, we could sit here. We could talk, oh, the economy's great, all of these things. Yeah, that's fine. But now I don't believe you. Now I have questions. And questions that started because you wanted to be transparent in everything. You wanted to bring stuff out, make sure that everybody saw it. Great. That sounds great. But what now? And the fact that you insulted people, this is a no, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. That is. And for some people out there, it doesn't matter. For some people out there, he could show up at your house and shoot your dog today, and you're going to celebrate him.
On Fifth Avenue.
On Fifth Avenue. But yesterday, when I heard even Mike Johnson, let's be real, Mike, probably arguably one of the most boring guys in political history, come out and say, we need some transparency. Why is that? Because now this becomes the only story for him. Because as we were joking, Bell and I were watching, he's doing a press conference earlier, and it's like, raise your hands if you have any question for me or the guy from Bahrain. All right, now raise your hand if you got any questions about the whole Epstein thing. Everybody raise their hands kind of thing. This is what it's going to become, and it's going to undermine things going forward because now people have questions, and now that you're insulting people, that ain't going to help you either.
But I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. Look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it. They were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved so that they can deal with violent crime and public safety and election integrity and going after Act Blue and the things that the president is most concerned about, as we are. So I'm anxious to get this behind us.
And I think that's what they all want to do. Because you know what? It's one of those things now where if you've been inside of a locker room, a lot of you probably have, but you see it in sports. Right? Something happens and everybody, even if you're the last person on the team, you got to spend an hour answering questions about something you don't want to answer questions for because you don't even know what to do. You don't know what to say because you've been put in a position and you didn't think. So, no, and this, you know, people wonder why I don't have politicians. I'll tell you why I don't have politicians on. Because I don't worship him. Some of you do. Some of you, especially Trump. I do not. I want to be able to criticize without having to get into an argument with somebody and being fair and honest. I like a lot of what Trump's done. This is a swing and a miss. And if you can't see that, man, there's some issues right there. There is some issues. And it's not just him. The administration is swung and missed. And when I talk about the victims, because I heard somebody yesterday call and talk to Chris, and they were a victim of sexual abuse. I'll tell you, as a kid, I was. And it was awful. It was horrible. So when I hear stuff like this, it is vile and disgusting. And to think that somehow we would be like, well, we don't really want to know now. No, we should want to know. And you made it what it is. But you've also insulted people who really have busted their ass to help get you over the line. And a younger group of voters in particular, you know, they're not thrilled by this. And I don't think this helped this morning. My brother's a perfect example. Him and his friends, he was beyond apoplectic this morning thinking, what the hell? I mean, I you know, he wears his MAGA hat in California, gets yelled at all the time. He's got a Tesla, all of those things. He's in there going, you know what? What a giant waste. I feel like you're going to insult me over that. So you should be frustrated. And if there's no there, then let it be. But to sit here and say, oh, get over it. It's all, no, people aren't. And when you insult them, they're definitely not. Because now what you've done is you made it personal. And how many times in life have you been in an argument? And it's an argument that's a valid argument over something. But then somebody goes right for the grundle and makes it personal. And now, even if you're in the wrong, doesn't matter anymore because you made it personal. Which sucks. I mean, it does. But this was a failure to communicate. It started with Pam Bondi and that night, but it also started years ago when they started bringing Epstein up. And this thing went from in the QAnon rooms to the Alex Jones world, to the somewhat mainstream, and then on to all the podcasts. And then the thing grew from there. And all of a sudden it became a lot more mainstream. And then it landed here and it became an issue. But the issue was about transparency. And now doesn't feel like it's a lot about transparency. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to have fun today. We're not talking about this all day. We got One Hit Wonder Day. It's also National Hot Dog Day. So, to move a bit away from this so we don't sit here and you guys can hate Bell and I all you want. I don't know why they hate you, Bell. You haven't done anything wrong.
They can hate me all they want. What hot dog company created National Hot Dog Day? Because that's what happened.
It's probably, who's the biggest? Oscar Mayer?
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
just in terms of volume, I would guess so.
I mean, that's that. I mean, I would assume because of volume, it'd be Oscar Mayer. Let's see who created National Hot Dog Day.
Hallmark.
Hallmark's got to be. Hot Dog Day.
Any wiener cards out there?
National Hot Dog Day. It's big in a lot of places. I don't know. I don't see who's really created it. Who was behind the push for it. But, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, one of my favorite bands of all time. They created it. And what's your go-to hot dog? So everybody's got a go-to hot dog. And for some people, it's regional, right? Because you might be in an area, like for me.
That's true, yeah.
Like the Dodger dog, because I grew up in L.A., Dodger dogs are great. But if I had to pick a brand, I like Hebrew National.
I'm not a big hot dog guy. I don't really eat hot dogs.
But it's beef. The beef hot dogs, not the one that's made with chicken beaks and stuff.
What's the point of eating a hot dog if you're not going to get your chicken beaks?
I don't know. That's what
I got to have my daily allowance of chicken beaks.
The entrails of whatever was left at the bottom. So I put up a poll. You can take it at Chad Benson Show. Hebrew National, Nathan's, Oscar Mayer, or others. Hebrew National is in the lead a little bit. But it's got to be a beef dog.
Isn't there a southern brand called Ballpark Franks?
Yeah, Ballpark. Yeah, they're nationwide.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
So they're nationwide. I mean, there's a lot of them but some people hit me up today. I'm like, I've never heard of half these
Somebody
things.
mentioned Nathan's.
Yeah, Nathan's.
That's a pretty big brand.
But Oscar Mayer is probably the biggest by volume. I think you're absolutely right. Coming up, a lot of stuff to get to today, not just about this. We've got economic news. We've got a lot of different things to get to. One Hit Wonder Wednesday. It's a very fun One Hit Wonder Wednesday because we wouldn't do a crappy one. That's no fun as well. A little bit more about this, a bunch of other things. Reach out to us. Our text line is
615-737-9986.
Somebody said National Hot Dog Day is a hoax. Maybe, but it tastes great. It's the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Nashville's business district expands, and the real estate market seeing some potential new trouble. We'll have those stories and more coming up at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A lot of people like the hot dog thing. See, we're not just all about politics. My God. I said that to somebody today because they're like, obviously it's a big story. I have a national show, so I'm doing lots of stuff, and the Epstein thing was big. But we talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about the Fed a little bit. We talked about a lot of different things, immigration, the Gen Z stare we're going to talk about in a little while. What the hell is that? But I said, they're like, how can you stop down in the middle and do something crazy like the One Hit Wonder Wednesday? I was like, how can you not? How can you not have fun with that? It's like, is that the only thing you talk about all day? You sit around all day and you're wallow in sorrow and watch politics?
Hell, before we even start the show, you and I are usually sitting out there laughing at TikTok videos.
Oh, absolutely.
Like midgets today.
Yeah, we got a great midget story later. I mean, it's and you know what? It's a real story. It's not one of those things where we joke around and just say something kind of offhand, which is not very nice. But it's a real story, and it's like it's a global story that isn't really reached here because of who's involved in it, but it's hilarious. But I always say, I can't just talk politics all day because that would just drive me crazy. And I could talk issues and stuff, but man, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. We were even talking today about Ozzy Osbourne. How much they raised? $200 million almost?
190 was the official number between the ticket sales and the streaming fees.
Yeah. Somebody said I had Afton on. Yeah, I've had Afton and Burchett. We're supposed to have him on because I want to ask him specific. I don't care about the rest of it unless he's got UFO stuff because I like that about him because he will. But I'll have them on. But I've had him on once, and I've had her on. She came in the first time. Didn't even know who the hell she was because it was new here, and then last time because I was the only show she'd come on to talk about ice when they were falling around ice. I'm not to this day. I'm still not quite sure what that was all about. But the reason I don't because you're gonna have to criticize some of these people, and a lot of times they can't. You know,
Burchett will though.
Yeah.
We're having him on Friday.
Yeah, just for that. Just because I want to know about this. What's it like there? And we should be able to ask questions, but people take it seriously where it's like you can't be criticized. No, you should be able to criticize. By the way, I'm looking at the Israel. So it's kind of odd, right? Here's what you guys want something here if you guys want to play like conspiracy game. Does anybody find it weird that this stuff is blowing up about Epstein and today Israel struck Damascus in Syria to protect a group called the Druze, which are not Islamists, but follow a sect of Shia. It's an odd thing. So, but apparently to protect them. Or they had nuclear weapons. We're not quite sure. Oh, Larry. Chad, my vodka delivery last night was a midget. That's what he said, not me. Oh, did you know Midget WrestleMania is in Murfreesboro on Saturday? You need to find that out right now. Right this second, if that's true. Nathan's Hot Dogs is starting to win. Nathan and cayenne pepper seems to be a big one too.
Was it made with cayenne, or is the guy just talking about putting cayenne pepper on it?
I don't know. Do they have one like that?
Because I'm not a big fan of the cayenne.
I'm okay with that. It depends on what it's on. Who was it that used to make the hot dogs with the cheese in the middle?
Oh, there was a lot that did that. I think that originated with Oscar Mayer, but there's not Hill Farms. There's a brat company that makes brats with the cheese in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you like brats?
Yes.
Johnsonville makes that.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Johnsonville, that's it. Not Hill Farm. There's a hill in there.
I knew there was an ILLE in there somewhere. Yeah.
I vote Nathan's. Yeah, Nathan's is so good. You know, Hebrew National is good. I mean, it's neck and neck. I mean, it is what's the place to get a hot dog here? Is there a go-to place where they make like Chicago dogs or something like that? It's always Chicago. Like a Chicago makes some sort of special dog.
Well,
I don't think so.
Conn's is big in Chicago.
Yeah. But like, because they have a couple of those places like around and that are called Chicago dogs. So ballpark Franks are good. So a lot of people chiming in on that. It is National Hot Dog Day. So what's your go-to hot dog? If you're going to eat a dog, you're going to barbecue it, you're going to hang out with your friends. Hey, Jay, what's the weather like going to be today? Because I was sitting there finishing up my show today when lightning and thunder were rattling around.
Yeah, with the heat build up, especially in the afternoon, you could get gets just smacked by a severe thunderstorm here today. I know on my way in at about 10 o'clock this morning on 440, couldn't see the hood of my truck. I mean, it just came down, man, and we can expect more of that today. Just scattered storms.
Scattered storm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, triple-digit heat index.
Woo! You guys know what that means. And the weather wizard's out here. We got Jay today. I got a text from the weather wizard today. Now, he did not inform Bell or I. Says, hey, guys, I'm in Tulsa. I'll be back next week. What? We thought something was wrong. No, I'm just here having fun with my mom, eating some fried food and getting ready to go to the Church of Christ.
Who starts their vacation in the middle of the week?
Weirdos.
Yeah,
weather
weirdos.
wizard. The weather wizard. Coming up. A lot of stuff still to get to. We're going to do One Hit Wonder Wednesday because it's fun. We got some economic news as well we'll jump at. If you miss any of the show, we say shame on you. Grab the podcast. It is the Chad Benson Show at Super Talk 99.7.
It is 12:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A full forecast coming up shortly. Metro Council voted last night to expand the business district, even though it would push another tax onto Nashvillians to cover the cost of policing the area and keeping it clean. Here's some of the public comment on the issue.
I'll take anything. If there's more restaurants or more activities to do around the area, that'd be great.
Drawing in more locals, drawing in more tourists, and drawing in millions of dollars of revenue that gets invested in our core and returns to the rest of the city.
The Business Improvement District will now include the Gulch and Capitol View. The real estate market seeing some new trouble potentially, and Jerome Powell seems to be the only one that can help.
Figures compiled by the Mortgage Bankers Association find applications for a mortgage to purchase a home falling 12% last week, while applications to refinance a home dropped 7%. This all comes as the rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage jumped from 6.77% to 6.82% in the past 2 weeks.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. Analysts believe the Fed will not lower interest rates at its next meeting at the end of the month, and it's looking less likely that they'll consider interest rate cuts in September. In D.C., Vice President J.D. Vance, he broke the 50-50 tie on the Senate's first vote to advance a bill that would allow Congress to cancel billions of dollars in previously approved funding for government programs, including foreign aid and funding for NPR.
Congress hasn't actually passed a rescissions package since the Clinton administration. So what's going on here right now is that Congress, as we all know, approves the funding that the federal government is able to spend every year. So Congress deals with that through these big appropriations bills. And I feel like we talk a lot about this anytime we're getting close to a government shutdown. What Congress is trying to do right now is go back and claw back some of the funding that they've already approved.
That's ABC's Ali Pecorin on Capitol Hill. That is the latest news. We've got weather next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Interesting, the battle going on. Belle and I sit here and look at some of these text messages. Some of you still texting in about, why don't you talk about Hollywood and the scumbags there? Why can't we do both? Hollywood's full of scumbags. Hollywood's full of horrible people. We recognize that. But this whole thing, that's become a nightmare. You can go after both, by the way. You can. I will say.
Kevin Spacey wants the Epstein files released.
Absolutely.
He put a video out.
I saw that. But you know what? I refuse to listen to Michael Jackson. I won't listen to anything he does. I can't stand him. I think what he did was awful and horrible and vile. And to say that that nothing happened, BS. Nobody buys that. So, you can do both. You can. On Wednesdays, we have fun because we try to have fun here. It's what we do. We have a little thing called One Hit Wonder Wednesdays. And we do this because we're not insane and talk politics all the time. And we all love music. Bell really loves music. He has hair, long hair, apparently. If he had a head, we would notice. But we do have a lot of fun with this. It's called One Hit Wonder Wednesday. So think about this. It's a time when it's a band or a song or a songwriter, and they come together and something happens. You don't know why, but for that moment in time, this band, the singer, the songwriter, it takes over the world. It takes over the airwaves, and it's nonstop, and it becomes a part of life. Some of those songs
becomes less a song and more a cultural moment.
Exactly. A touch point for a lot of people. And a lot of these songs that we do on these things, I will get more text, outside of some of the wacky controversial stuff that happens at times on this because people are like, well, you can do this next week. You can do this one next week. And the reason is because it's also a memory. And it takes you back to a time. And that's why we call this One Hit Wonder Wednesday. So, One Hit Wonder Wednesday. The year was 1978. This band gets together. And they play some gigs for a while. They start building up an audience locally. And it's in California. And, if you guys know anything about L.A. and the music scene there, which even to this day is somewhat still huge, they used to talk about the fact that you could wake up at 2 a.m, you and your band could get together, go down to the Sunset Strip, and you would find a place to play in front of people. Like, that, it was incredible. So this band gets together, lead singer from Detroit. You got another guy who is local, and they put together 2 other dudes, and they come up. They have this kind of riff. They think it's kind of fun, a little bit of The Who in it. And they finally find the music, but they don't have any kind of song. They just have the music. Well, as they become rather popular, something happens. They get chicks. And one of the chicks becomes a muse.
One time I went down to hear us perform, and one of them was named Sharona. And my lead singer, Doug, had quite a crush on Sharona.
I had to have her. It consumed me. She was my muse. She compelled me.
And that's how you get today's one-hit wonder. 1979, biggest song on Billboard that year, the number one song of 1979, and one of the biggest songs in the world at the time. Sold 10 million copies, which is massive. The album came out before the single. It came out 2 weeks before the single, and up until a few years ago, and you'll know this, it was there was the largest single-day ad in radio history. But the album had been out for weeks. And then lo and behold, out of nowhere comes these guys. Do you remember where you were?
I don't remember where the first time I heard this was, but I do remember the first time I heard the follow-up, which was Good Girls Don't, and that was in the back of the family car.
Yeah.
And I knew if I asked my father to turn it up, he'd turn it off.
Oh.
So I had to press my ear into the back seat so I could get the speaker a little closer and hear it without asking him to turn it up.
Yeah, they were an interesting thing. A lot of people called them the punk version of the Beatles, right? They had black and white suits, thin ties.
Yeah.
It was almost like a mod kind of feel to them.
They are considered by some to kind of be the early phase of new wave.
Yeah. And it was a massive hit, and this is the crazy thing. So they go, and instead of doing it in Hollywood, this big, elaborate thing, they went to a small place in the Valley in California to do the song. It was one take, and that was it. I mean, all their other songs, they did a whole bunch of takes on, but this, because they wanted to have a live feel rather than, overproduced, even for that time. And yes, people, if you want to know, Sharona was real. Sharona is very interesting because Sharona is, she's part of culture. She was on the front of the album as well. And they dated and were engaged at one time. They dated for a while. The lead singer, Doug, who wrote the song, but he eventually passed away. They were great friends up until the end. She, Sharona, by the way, is a huge real estate agent in Los Angeles to the rich and powerful. But your number one super duper one-hit wonder Wednesday song of the day is by the band called The Knack.
You want to hear a really hot take for Wednesday?
Yeah.
They put another album out in the 90s called Serious Fun, and everything on that album decimates everything on the Get the Knack album, including that song.
But it was one of those things where they said that was the problem with the band. They said two things happened with the band. Everybody wanted another My Sharona.
Oh, of course.
And that was, when you start out as your one-hit wonder, that song's so big, you're going to, tough. She would even talk about, she flew to Australia on vacation. She says she's on the airplane, they're playing My Sharona. She goes, then we get to there, and when I walk in, there's a band that greets everybody. They're playing My Sharona. She goes, it was exhausting. But on top of all of that, Doug got a big head, they said. He was at the point where he was like the biggest rock star for a minute, and he was never the same after that, which you could see. That happens. No doubt about that. And it charted again in 94 with Reality Bites. Is that the name?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no doubt about that. A lot of stuff still to get to today, and some of you chiming in still about the Epstein stuff. We'll get to more of it. I know some of you are like, we've listened to it all day. We've got different takes, kids. That's what we do here. We don't give you the same take that everybody else does because that would be boring, and that's not who we are. The reality is there's a lot. Somebody said, I'm worried about paying my bills. Yeah, you should be.
Everybody is.
Name somebody is it. 7 in 10 people right now have anxiety when it comes to money. 7 in 10. And of the 7 in 10, more than half of those people feel that even making more money at this moment in time isn't going to make them feel better. They're worried about the economy. And we've talked about it. We can sit here and talk about inflation. And we can talk about...
Stop discussing my personal life on the air.
We can talk about all of those things. What we can't pretend, though, is if you don't feel good about the economy, that's a good thing. The CPI report, they come out with this. The CPI, we're inflation up, inflation down. Here's where inflation matters. Do you feel it in your paycheck? Do you feel it at the grocery store? People like this, the election became an eggs thing, right? Well, that's an anomaly. Bird flu happened. So that was an anomaly. If eggs were still $6 and the bird flu had gone away, well, then we'd have an issue. The reason that something like gas is a big deal when it comes to how the economy goes and how people feel is because it's the one thing you see all the time. You drive by a gas station, it's up. You see the prices at the grocery store, but it might have gone up 5% here, 6% there, 10% here. Maybe once in a while, like with eggs, you'd see something like, oh my goodness, because of what was happening. You don't feel it, though, till you get to the checkout.
I have it on the best of authority from Senator Warren that eggs got smaller because of shrinkflation from big egg companies.
Big egg. It's always about big egg. Everything's about big egg. But you do feel, like you will feel, once you feel it, once you go and you're like, oh, wow, oh, that hurts. That's when you start to understand what the economy is doing at that moment in time. We all understand what the economy is doing, but it isn't until it actually affects you that people pay attention to the tariffs or people pay attention to any of these things. And Ken and I joke about it all the time. I couldn't tell you what tariffs are on. Because some tariffs are on, but they're not fully on. Then these tariffs are on in this country, but the difference is we don't produce some of the stuff, so there's no tariffs there. We're tariffing this country, but we're not quite sure. And then we pulled it back, but we're going to add more to it. I couldn't tell you. And I know August 1st is supposed to be another giant round of tariffs. Maybe it's going to be huge. Maybe it's not. But until it affects you in a way where you go, you look at your check and you look at your, what you're buying in your groceries and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to put some of this stuff back. That's when people get it. And at this moment in time, I don't think people are that worried. I think the economy's going okay. I don't think they're terrified of a recession. Doesn't mean that things can't change, but God willing, it doesn't. And we stay steady and we continue to grow. Coming up, a lot of other stuff still to get to on this most festive days, which is Wednesday. We did One Hit Wonder Wednesday. We also have a poll question up. You can go and check it out now on my X, which is at Chad Benson Show. And it is about hot dogs because it's National Hot Dog Day. The best dog. Right now, Hebrew National, 36.3%. Nathan's, 30%. Oscar Mayer, 10. Other, 23.8.
And if you're going to click other, at least comment make a comment and tell us what the other is.
Yeah, because sometimes the other is interesting because a lot of times it's stuff that's very regional and I don't know anything about it. So I would like to know about it. It is the Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 99.7.
Is their dignity and the things they're interested in and their creative endeavors and pursuits and their personality. That's the kind of thing we should be focusing on, not paying people to turn our surroundings into some kind of Victorian circus. I just can't believe it happened.
Really? You can't? They got to show up. Do you remember what was it, the Seven Dwarfs movie or whatever? Excuse me. It was Snow White and the animated figures. Do you remember the controversy? Besides the lunacy of her, the controversy was you had arguably one of the biggest actors in the world. What's his name? The little guy? His name?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. The little guy. He comes out and he complains about the dwarfs, right? So he complains about them. So what happens? They get rid of the dwarfs altogether. So 7 people don't get a gig. Now people are complaining about this. Get over yourselves, okay? Because I guarantee you, they didn't walk away empty-handed. They didn't. They got to go to a party, and they made bank. My buddy had a 30th birthday party.
But they made bank and lost their dignity.
My buddy had a 30th birthday party that was midget wrestling, and they walked around. This was weird and hilarious. They had sombreros on, and there was chips and salsa in the sombreros. So the chips were on the outside and the salsa on top. And I was talking to one of the guys. It was a little guy. And he says, yeah, we got to do this now. And I said, why? He goes, because we used to go, because they were like a group, we used to go to bars and we'd make it $1,500 a night, sometimes a piece. All of us were making $1,000 a night to the dwarf tosses and all that kind of stuff. And we had all these things that we were doing. And then who complained? Normies, because they felt bad. And while you're thanking yourself, you just took food out of their mouths and their family. And they're like, man, we got to pay people. You know, we got bills, we got stuff. So stop trying to protect the world, okay? They're fine. They're tough, right? They're little, but they're tough. They're wiry.
They're using a unique feature about themselves that most people don't have.
No.
To actually be...
To make money and make a living.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And if they're willing to do it and you're not forcing them, and they come to you because,
Or they're in the book and it says, hey, you need a midget for your party? Call this number. I'm available for $1,500 for the day.
And you say, that sounds good. That's not slavery. That's paid work. Good God. All right, coming up, hour number 2. The Fed chair. We'll talk some more about Epstein. Got a lot of stuff weighing in on that. And, of course, it is National Hot Dog Day. What's the best hot dog? By the way, there's a place called I Dream of Weenie. Hilarious. If you ever see the show, grab the podcast. Chad Benson Show, Super Talk 997. What discrimination was? You were at the party. You got paid. And now you've got everybody chiming in about this because they were there. They were having fun. They were dancing. And they're the ones speaking out saying, this is ridiculous. Leave us alone.